What is going on, everybody? It's PJ here. I am recording, finally, my review of Persona 5 Royal. I'm going to get this right out of the gate, okay? This game is amazing. It is easily, without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best games that I have ever played. Now, I played Persona 5 back when it was released. I believe it was 2015? 2016? Something like that. I believe. I don't remember the exact year, but I did play it when it originally came out. I loved it then. I thought the game was incredible then. It was super stylish. So basically what the game is, I'll give you a brief synopsis, is you are a member of the Phantom Thieves. You are basically tasked with changing the hearts or the subconsciouses of people who are doing wrong. And the people that are doing wrong do a whole mess of different things. And it touches on subject matter that I think that the creators Atlus handled with respect and dignity, and they did such a wonderful job with telling these stories with this mechanic of balancing everyday to life while being your protagonist to jumping back into the metaverse and doing the battles with, the palace rulers. Now, as far as the gameplay goes, it basically consists of you going to school during the day as the protagonist, living life and doing what you need to, and just doing everything to get by. You go to class, you study, you bring up knowledge. Now, when you're doing that, all that influences what happens in the metaverse. So when you are outside in the real world and you build up your social links, it helps you become stronger in the metaverse. So, there's points where if you go out and you, play darts, which you couldn't do in the original, but if you can do it in Persona 5 Royal, it'll actually elevate your baton pass, which basically is a one more attack, which allows you to continuously string attacks. So that how it bridges the two together, I think, works out very well. Now, the story from Persona 5 Royal and the original, there's quite a few huge differences in it, especially with the inclusion of a couple of new characters. I don't want to spoil anything, but if you have played the original Persona 5, the addition of the new palace and the new characters alone is worth it, because I knew going into Persona 5 originally, I knew who I wanted my relationship to be with. I originally went with Ann in my original playthrough, so I originally knew who the characters were I was going to social link the most with. In my original playthrough, I believe it was Ann was my significant other for my protagonist. Ryuji was my number 2 confidant. And I don't want to give away anything else, because if I say a couple of names, it would spoil the main story of the original Persona 5. But, Ryuji is the first person you literally meet at the start of the game, and Ann is one of the very first people you meet in the first palace. So that's not a big deal, but some of the topics this game touches on. It touches on suicide. It touches on abuse. Sexual abuse. It touches on, how far people will go for greed, how far people will touch on things they need to do, things they justify to themselves in order to go further. And then there's one palace that isn't... There's one palace that is very based on internal strife. I don't want to give away whose palace it is, but I think that palace was very well done. And you'll notice that going through the palaces is that it deals with the 7 deadly sins. That's the one thing that I think is a common theme, is that you will deal with the 7 deadly sins throughout each palace for each palace ruler. So, it's well done. It's perfectly... The mesh between the city life and the school life and the battle mechanics and everything is incredibly blended well. It's done perfectly well. Now, as far as the game itself, the style points for this game, not just on the original Persona 5, but on Persona 5 Royal, is just kicked up from a 10 to a 15. The remixes of some of the songs on this game from the original OST to now is fantastic. The menus are cool. They even changed the opening cinematic for Persona 5 Royal. So if you can go back and look at the original Persona 5 opening movie and put it next to Royal, you'll see night and day differences. Plus, on the main title screen is pretty cool. It says "Let us start the game." I think that's pretty funny. It's incredible, like down to the main original story, and then the stuff they added for the bonus palace added very nicely to the original story. It didn't take away from it, which me personally, I was worried about, was having it take away from the original Persona 5 story. Now, you play through the whole original Persona 5 story in getting to the last palace, and there's certain days you have to hit with people, and certain dates you have to do with certain individuals. I don't, like I said, if I get into it, it's going to spoil it, and I don't want to. I want you all to figure it out. But it was awesome. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The final Passel, the final palace was very, very different, and I liked it. I loved it. I thought the final palace was incredible, and I thought the final boss fight wasn't the boss fight from the original because of this whole new palace. So, with this whole extra semester that is added on to this game, in my original playthrough of Persona 5, I believe I finished at like 96 hours or something like that. With this, and having the whole extra semester and the whole extra palace, it added about another 40 hours of gameplay. Just being able to go to school, see what's going on, and see how things changed, and how they introduced the palace and the palace ruler, I think, is done phenomenally well. As far as the music goes, the music in this game is top freaking notch. I actually have two favorite tracks that are from Persona 5 Original and that are used in some remix versions and the OG versions on Persona 5 Royal. It's Rivers in the Desert, and what's the other one? Rivers in the Desert basically plays during big climactic battles. It basically gives you a sense of determination. Like, hey, like, I can beat you. Like, I know what you have done. I am here with my Phantom Thieves, and we're going to take you down. That is what I believe that song is about. And it just gets you amped. Like, it really does. Especially, and I don't want to spoil it, but it plays a part in some significant battles where you just feel like you're completely overwhelmed. And you're stuck and you don't know what to do, and this song just kicks in, like the drum riff, the guitar riff, like you hear it and you're just like, all right, I'm ready to throw down, let's go. And then there's another song that plays. So in the palace, you have to infiltrate the palace, go to the palace, find a route to the treasure, which is what you have to steal in order to make the person you're targeting have a change of heart. However, in order for you and the Phantom Thieves to do that, you have to send out a calling card. Now, the calling card gets sent out, your target reads the calling card, and they're like, oh no, the Phantom Thieves are after me. And then the treasure materializes in their palace in the metaverse. On the day that you were going in, when the treasures materialize after you send the calling card, the last time you infiltrate that person's palace, you hear the song Life Will Change playing. And it only plays during that day. It only plays during that day of infiltration during the palace. So it basically is there to tell you, like, hey, this is it. We're going for it. We're a team. We're here. We're not going to be stopped. We're going to get this treasure, and there's not a damn thing that this shadow can do to stop us. We are the Phantom Thieves. We're slick, and we're going to do this. And I believe it plays a couple of times during some boss fights. I don't remember specifically, but those two songs epitomize the style, the ability to connect with the player, just because like some of these things just get you so hyped. And another thing I want to point out that just gets me hyped for this game, like that literally draws you in, is the awakening scenes. So each person that you add to your party has gets a persona of their own, right? Seeing how they awaken to their persona and the music behind it is incredible. Like, it just, I looked forward to every single awakening scene that was in this game. And there are a couple of new ones too that I don't want to spoil. But those they were fantastic. They were so good. And like I said, as far as gameplay time, it took me like 135 hours, I think it took total, and that was me playing it, pretty actively. Like, after I finished Final Fantasy VII, boom, right into Persona 5. And I just couldn't put it down. I couldn't. It was that good. And that was with me even playing the original. And it just captured me all over again. It made me realize what made the original so special. Now, I'm going to be doing a review of Final Fantasy VII later. And that kind of what makes this difficult for me, right? Is that I grew up with Final Fantasy VII. I waited years for the Final Fantasy VII remake. And I loved it. I did. And I'll do my review for that later. But I think Persona 5 Royal, like to the point where even the menus are stylish, okay? I don't know how the hell they did it, but the UI for this game is incredible. Like, it just is fun to use and fun to look at. But if I had to give Persona 5 Royal a score, I would give it a 10 out of 10. That's not saying there isn't flaws, because there is. There's some, like, there's one palace I think that, got drawn out a little too long, both in the Royal and the original. And then there's some questionable battle choices, I guess you could say. But I don't really want to get into it because those things are so minor that they didn't detract from the game overall. I never felt like I was at a complete disadvantage. There were some fights where I was just like, okay, I'm going to get my ass whooped. But I always found a way to succeed. It was never daunting. It was never too much. It was always just enough. It was always just enough to be like, okay, what can I do to get out of this hole? There was always a way. You just had to think, and you had to be clever about it. So yeah. So that is my Persona 5 review. I give it a 10 out of 10. Persona 5 Royal is incredible. If you have the chance, go listen to the OST. It is fantastic. So please, if you guys have a chance, go buy this game. I believe it's on sale right now at GameStop. So please go enjoy this game. And my name is PJ. And if you can, like, comment, subscribe down below. And I'll look forward to seeing you guys later. Thanks. Bye.